Hello viewers, today's video is going to be on this old vintage microwave oven by Whirlpool, model number RFM dash, well no dash, but RFM 7300. Now I picked this up out of the scrap bin, most likely to scrap it for parts, but upon further inspection, because I pretty much just grabbed it and just ditched it in the bed of the truck and just brought it home. But I thoroughly looked at it and kind of changed my mind as I opened it up, and which we'll do in a little bit here in the video. And I was quite surprised of how complex this machine actually is, and the fact that it's still fully functional to my knowledge, as far as it, heating up food and water, which you see we already got our test jar in there, well, or jar full of water we'll use, but in terms of what I want to say, functionality, there is one function on this machine that I don't know if it actually works, because I don't have the accessory, which would be the probe sensor feature this machine has on it. Like I said, I don't have the probe with it, so I don't know if it works. I could build my own, because it does have, I think it's a 5mm. It's like a headphone jack. I think it's a 5. I don't know. But anyway, so it just uses like a standard audio jack. The bigger type or bigger size headphone jack, not the 3.5. It's the one that up from above that, like you'd find on your home theater systems. But anyway. But yeah, so this is originally, I thought it was from the 60s era, but upon further inspection, it's actually manufactured in December of 1989. I mean, excuse me, 79. Excuse me. I don't know why I said 89. But it also has other little features, such as it having a porcelain table. You see what the jar is sitting on. That's actually not metal. It's a big porcelain tile in there. It does have a little bit of flaws with it. First one you might notice if you mess with these old microwaves is the handle is missing, but I'm still able to get it open and it's still able to work and all. But other than that, it's a nice little system. As you can probably see, it's got a nice bright interior light. It uses a standard 40-watt appliance bulb. Same light bulbs you would find in the older or cheaper refrigerators that doesn't use like the big LED strips and stuff built in where you can't replace them. So it just uses, like I said, a standard 40-watt appliance light bulb. It uses a mechanical timer motor or timer clock up here, as you can see, and it has a cooking power control, which is another timer module, which I'll show you when we get inside in a little bit. And then down there where it says meal sensor, that's actually where the probe is, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But also, this one, upon further taking it apart and looking at the inside, there is, of course, you got your cooling fan, but at the top you can probably see that this vent right here on the inside, which will open it up, and you see when you turn it to the off position, all the lights turn off. And then we'll just open it up, and there you go. Anyways, you can see the roof, the top of it here. This is actually where the microwave stirrer is, because you see there's no turntable in this one. It actually has a turntable motor or a AC servo motor that actually spins it around. It's called the microwave guide. But the Magnetron is sitting in the up position, and then there's like a duct that goes across the top, and then the stirrer will actually deflect it around in the oven. You can probably see right along the edge here, the paint's peeled off and it's a little rusty. Same for that back corner there and that corner there. But there is actually a bead of silicone caulking that goes all the way around for the porcelain tile that's in here. I don't know if you can, probably can't tell the difference because I got some weight on there, but it is a porcelain tile. But yeah, there's all your specs. I'll zoom up in a minute once I get the lights all turned on and stuff. But all you do is you turn the timer to whatever you want. Also, you can't just slam this, because if you see here, there's a latch, a latch mechanism system here, to where it'll actually bump into the side here. I don't know, it's just a little offset. I'm not sure why they did that. I tried to fix it to get it to not do that. So you got to kind of just slightly, you know, make it to where, and it'll actually shut very smoothly. But you see here, and the door's not off track either. It looks like it's slightly loose, but it does nothing. So what you got to do is you slightly open, so you kind of feel for it, I guess would be the word. There you go, and then it just closed. Like I said, it'd probably be a little bit easier with the handle. The handle wasn't missing, but like I said, unfortunately, the handle was not on it when I found it. I might go back and look in that same bin if they haven't taken it off to the scrapyard yet. But anyway, but like I said, all you do is you just set the timer, and then you just push this button, and you'll have your little indicator lights down here in the corner to let you know that it's running, and then you'll have another one where it says probe, which I'll get a closer up in a minute here. All you do is just push start, and where it's running. And upon closer inspection here, let me get this out of the way, drop that to the side, and I'll just let the timer module do its thing. As you can see, it slowly moves. This is real time. And then this is actually eliminated as well. And then you just turn this. All this does is just kind of like a defrost. I'll just turn it on and off. The Magnetron. You might. Okay, there it goes. It just turned off. And then it'll turn back on in a few seconds. There it goes, it's back on again. So this is just, and of course the lower you set it, the longer it'll stay off, and then the you can see it just turned off a little bit quicker, so it won't allow it to stay on as long. So it'll stay off longer but turn on shorter, and then of course unless you turn it all the way up, and then it's on always. Got your meal sensor here. You set it, let's actually turn that off. All you do is you set it to the temperature you want it set to. Then, once the probe is inserted through this little port right here, this is where you connect the probe to. I tried this earlier. I had a, like I said, I think it's like was it a 4mm headphone jack, 4.5 millimeter to a 3.5 for your standard. Anyway, I stuck that in there. And when I did that, it engaged. What it did is this now is a controller, and what it'll do is it will disable the clock, the timer clock. So this will no longer control the time. This is still operatable depending on cooking power, I think, as far as I know. And what you do is you set the temperature, and once this needle, it's like a VU meter in here, and when it sets to a, there's also a control board behind here. You'll see that when we open it up. And once it gets to a temperature you set it to, it will shut the microwave off, and there's supposed to be like a little buzzer according to the schematic, but yeah, and so that's how that works. When that is when you have the probe being used, or the meal sensor feature it has on there. Now this is, there's the, actually, you know what, I'm gonna set the camera down for a minute. I'm gonna go turn the big lights on, and so you can get a better look at some things. Okay, we are back. You can probably see that a little bit better. So, according, at first I didn't see this tag. I was looking everywhere for a serial number and all. But, yeah, I found it. It was right in front of my face. I literally spent like 10-15 minutes looking for it, and I guess because of this lip and it just was almost the same color, I just didn't pay attention to it. And then I was looking around, I don't know, I was just sitting and I was like, oh, and I see the sticker and I'm like, it's right in front of my face. So yeah, so December 1979, 2.4 gigahertz is the Magnetron Speed, and it says 650 watts, but I'll be honest, this almost acts just as good as a 1000 watt microwave. It'll heat water at room temp, actually colder, because we got well water. So, and right now it's about 39 degrees outside, so so from 39 degrees to boiling point, it'll do it in about 3 minutes. So that's actually really good, in my opinion. So I mean, if you have a more powerful one, like a 1500 watt output, it might do it within like 2 minutes. But still, surprisingly, this works very well. So there is only one fan, which is inside, right underneath the magnetron, which is really old. It's not your typical newer magnetrons. It's actually your cylindrical shaped ones with like I'm guessing it's a glass tube instead of ceramic. You know, it has the pink ceramic ones, and it has like a metal cap over it. So you'll look at that. I won't be able to take it off, but I say it has like a clear see-through. Because I found some video on YouTube. I can't remember the university, but they actually interviewed one of the engineers one of the two who developed and designed helped design and helped develop the magnetron for the microwave oven way back in the early 1900s. Well, I think World War II era, somewhere in that range. But I'll put the link in the description to the video if it's still up, which I went to their website and they have their video linked in there, so it's still up and it's still playable, so I just got to find it. But in there, the same magnetron he's holding, the first original ones that showed up in household microwave ovens, was like from the 50s and 60s, and it's kind of exactly the same one that's in here. Even though this says 1979, it looks like one magnetron from the 60s era or 50s era. It's really, really cool looking, really old. But yeah, so we'll take a look at that in a few. But here's your air vent. Air comes in here. You got your fan sitting up, it pulls in from behind, and then blows up through the top, sitting up right under the magnetron. And the magnetron, like I said, it's facing up. And actually, let's get this out of here because this is noisy. And so I assume how it works is it pulls air into the top here. This is comes into the cavity, the oven here. There's an air duct here with like foam tape. The foam tape actually is not deteriorated, surprisingly, and you'll see that too. Then it gets diverted down through here, comes up and through here at this, takes the steam out, and it gets pulled into these air vents right here, and then down in, and then up into the fan, and then gets exhausted. You'll probably see it. It gets exhausted out the back through this back vent right here. Also, I'd like to mention, I really like this design. They have the interior light. All you do is just remove this cover, and then, like I said, it uses a standard Edison style light bulb. None of the little tiny nightlight styles or like the weird, I don't know how to explain them, but like those light bulbs that you would find in like your wax warmers and stuff, like for the scented wax warmers. Yeah, it doesn't use that style. It uses a standard, I think it was medium, an Edison medium is what the regular light socket is. Anyway, and you just unscrew it, and then you just put this little cover back on and screw it down, and there you go. So, like I said, I think I pretty much covered all that. So, oh yeah, it's got a nice wood grain finish. It says it's vinyl wrapped. Yeah, I'll just take a look at that real quick. I'll show you guys that. You can read it. Yeah, it says right there, sealed and ceramic oven bottom, exterior cabinet, vinyl covered, rosewood. Doesn't feel, it feels like metal. I don't know, it doesn't feel plasticky like you would think. But also, another thing I'd like to point out, I won't do it now just because I don't want the video to be too long, but it says it 1700 watts power input. This only uses 1340, I think. I hooked a amp meter up to it and everything while it was running with all the lights on and, you know, the Magnetron energized and all. And it only pulled about 11.42 amps. So that's way less than what this rating is. So I'm not sure where they got that rating from. And even so, you know, maybe you'd say, oh, well, the older ones because they run at 110 volts or 115, so it's at a lower voltage. But no, and this is rated for 120. So that's still at 1700 watts. That's like 7, yeah, about 15 amps. 15 amps, is that right? Because yeah, I think somewhere in that range. But this uses way less than it's stated. So that's just kind of weird. In fact, I have a bunch of newer microwaves that I've worked on, like by General Electric and stuff, and they're only like rated for 1,000 watts, and they actually draw like 14 and a half, and one I have even draws 15 amps, and it's not even that old. It's pretty, you know, it's newer style, updated, and yet this performs just as good, but uses a couple hundred watts less than today's microwaves. So it's just kind of strange. I'm not sure what's up with that. Anyway, but I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to take all these screws out, and we'll take a good look inside. I should also mention before we do that, so I have a nice smooth surface. Here is the schematic. I wonder if I can do this. I know for you guys that are watching on PC or whatever, sorry. But just get a good look. And you can just screenshot that or whatever and just turn it around. Then we'll go back to there we go. So yeah, this was the schematic inside. It was peeling off, so I didn't want it to get, you know, I didn't want to put it back in there because it's just going to fall right back off even more. But yeah, so we'll pause the video and I'll hurry up and try to take these screws out. Okay, we are back. I'm going to show this side first. This is where your light bulb is, as I was talking about. It uses a standard appliance. This is new. I just put this in here. It's brand new. So the old one was burnt out. This is your stereo motor. This is what the waveguide is. This is the duct to where the microwaves are fired into and then gets directed into the waveguide and mixes it around. It's called your stereo. This is a thermal cutout fuse, according to the schematic. But that's pretty much it. This is your air intake, excuse me. I don't know why I said that. And as you can see, the foam is actually pretty good, pretty squishy. It's not deteriorated, so I don't know what kind of material they used for this, but it definitely held up to time. And the big fluctuations in temperatures, because usually this stuff will get all powdery and grainy and stick all over everything and just completely, you know, be deteriorated. And according to all the dirt and dust that's on it, this looks like it's been sitting outside or in some kind of garage. You can see all the bits and pieces. So anyway, and this is where all the goodies are. It is absolutely cram-packed in this thing. Absolutely. Now, I know I thought from a view this looks like a fan motor, but this is the motor, this is the fan, this is actually the magnetron. Also, before we start poking around, it's a good idea to unplug everything. But geez, where do we start? I guess we can start with the timer module. Here's your little indicator lamp which lights everything up. There's your contactor. That's actually a beefy switch there. I guess that's what energizes the transformer, turns it on. You know what? I'm going to put you in the tripod and see if that works better so I don't have to be all over the place. There we go. I think that's good enough. So like I was saying, this is your little timer module. Here's your little bell that dings. This is the other module. This is pretty much the same thing as another timer module, but instead of turning the microwave on and off like this one is, I guess it's a little bit faster. It's a different gear ratio. So, and depending on which the knob, where you got to position, it turns it on and off faster. I haven't really looked into it. I don't want to take it apart either because it'd take me forever to figure out where everything goes. But let's see here. You got your wiring harness down there, which disconnects everything. I'm going to try to zoom in. Right there, where all that circuitry is, that is for the meal sensor. So this is technically all solid state. It's electronically controlled. And then I guess there's a relay in there somewhere. I see a transistor there, and then a full bridge rectifier, filter cap, but that's about it. This is your start button switch. It's down in there somewhere. Lighten that up for you guys. And then there's your high voltage transformer. I wonder if I can. Let's see if I can. I'll set that to the side. Yeah, we'll just get a light up in here. So, I don't want it to blind anybody. We can just put a light there. But you got your rectifier here, half bridge, I assume, because it's just one, so it'd be a half bridge rectifier. Unlike the newer ones, there's your 1 mega ohm resistor. That's actually replaceable. The capacitor is rated for 1.7 microfarads. Of course, you're probably not going to see that. There's your low voltage transformer. That's for the control module right here, because there's the pink wires going to it and everything. So that's the low voltage for that. That's like your little wall power supply, all that stuff. You can probably see all that. There's your indicator lamp for your power on, and then probe. One is all the way back there. Can you see that? Yeah, it's all the way back there. Here's that other module right here. It's supposed to be like for temperature, and then here's your timer. There's all your gears and stuff like that. And so, in order to replace this, as you can probably see, the indicator lamp, it's a twist and lock. And I don't know if it's a 7 watt or a 15 watt, but yeah, so it uses, I thought it would use like a standard, like a nightlight style bulb, like a little 7 watt, but this light bulb is actually classified as a indicator lamp when you look it up online. So, but yeah, and this is the Magnetron. As you can see here, I do like the fin design because it's cylindrical. You're able to put the fan directly under it, so all parts of the Magnetron can be evenly cooled versus just from the side, like today's traditional square shaped style ones, where you only got like the fan like halfway on there, and then the rest is just exhausted into the cavity to cool the transformer and the other various components. That really is fine, but I do like the setup of that. That's about it. Other than that, like I said, it is old. And in terms of mounting it, it looks like it has like some kind of custom mounting bracket, so it's not easily replaceable. You'd have to really rig up if I were to update this or something. I'd really have to figure out. I'd probably have to like drill some holes and stuff like that and figure all that stuff out. But yeah, and there's your cooling fan, and they actually put a fan guard on it, which is interesting in itself. Now, whoever did this, I don't know why, but this is an absolute messy job on the, was that epoxy or something for the transformer, and it's even worse right here. They just like snotted it everywhere. They just like pretty much like splashed it on there and called it a day. Very terrible. One thing I don't like about this, as you can see, there's no support for the input wires. It's just sticking out there, as you can see here. So I don't like that, even on the high voltage side. And these are like really close, so this should be a no-no. I'm not sure how this was able to pass, but you see These are like really close, and it's even worse right here. I mean, they're literally almost touching on the high voltage side. So if you were to have like any bits and pieces of dust or something to get up in there, here's a better look at it. That is not adequate spacing. Now they did put a spacer on it. Keep in mind this is unplugged, by the way. Now they did put a spacer on it to keep them from touching, but it's still, I don't trust that. They should have put some kind of heat shrink on it or whatever, or some kind of, you know, rubber boot to protect that a little bit more in that instance. I guess we can tell you, this is your fuse board. This is actually riveted in. There's another blank fuse. I'm not sure why they put that there. I don't know if that's just from a spare fuse, just to hold a spare. I have no idea. Oh, and here's your relay. The relay is also replaceable. This is actually used in HVAC systems. I think like your air handlers and stuff. So if this burns out, it's pretty easily replaceable. Although it is a 12-volt DC and not a 24-volt AC, so you might have a little bit of issues there. But other than that, it's a pretty common relay. I know that myself because I've seen them online all over the place. And like I said, in other various appliances like your air conditioning systems, they use this style. Like I said, instead of a DC, it's an AC. But I'm not sure what this thing is. Have no idea. I did see something about a buzzer for when you're operating the meal sensor thing right here. There's supposed to be a buzzer instead of the bell because, you know, this is disabled when that mode is operated. So I guess that's a buzzer. Not 100% sure. But if you look down in here, these are some big interlock switches. These are some heavy duty looking systems, or switches, excuse me. I say these are probably like 20 or 30 amp interlock switches. In fact, I don't know about on camera, but in person, they're a lot. There we go. Let's see if we can get a little better view. They're a lot bigger than than the camera shows it to be. Doesn't look that big, but in person, they're actually pretty big. Something like you would find inside of a clothes dryer for the interlock and that. That's exactly about how big these are. They're massive. What was that? Can we read that? It just says FSP. Yeah, I don't see. It's just model number for it. There's your probe sensor down there. Switch. With your little resistor and all that down in there. But let me get you back in focus. But yeah, it's just cram packed in here. A lot of features. Pretty much this is fully mechanical besides this, you know, meal sensor thing. But it's definitely held up to time and works just fine. No issues besides the handle that's missing, but I'm pretty sure that's no problem. In my opinion, I might find one later down the road. But yeah, oh, also I should mention all the parts are easily replaceable. You see these little spade connector terminals. All you do is just pop this off, slap a new one in there, connect it back up, and you're ready to go. Same with everything else. So easily accessible, in my opinion. The only thing that's not is the Magnetron. You know, you gotta take all that off. But anyway, yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.